Geoholic.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Good to be back.
Man, it is good to be back.
What a trip it's been, huh?
It has been a ride, I can tell you that.
Well, we're going to get to that in just a minute. But before we do, welcome back to Geoholics. Thanks for listening. We are at episode 193.
193.
Inching closer and closer to the big 200.
The big 200.
But we got a good one lined up for you. And
yeah, I'm excited.
You know, as the listeners know, we just got back from Intergeo.
That's right.
Had a, 10-day trip to Germany. Kind of parlayed it with some vacation time in addition to the conference itself, which was absolutely amazing.
It really was.
So much fun. You know, it was so good to see some of our really good friends that we've communicated with
people
forever.
We've had on the show that actually got to meet in person.
Yep. And of course, tons of new friends. I can't wait for those interviews to come out.
Oh, yeah. I'm already going back through some of them, and I forgot some of the cool stuff that we talked about.
Yeah,
so
cool. But I don't know what the highlight was, to be honest with you. There were so many. It's like every day there were, like, it just kept getting better and better.
Yeah, hanging out with the guys from Airworks was definitely, and the guys from
Appclose were great. Yeah, Bad Elf folks, of course.
Seeing Michael.
Yep, Michael Gula.
Yeah.
Good to see him. Elaine Ball, of course.
Yeah.
It was just, I look back at it, like you said, and I'm like, I don't know that it could have gone any better.
We were our spot was almost
amazing.
Perfect.
Yep.
I think you're right. I don't know how it could have gone any better.
Yeah.
We just needed more time. We ran out of time. We were just running. We didn't stop for 3 straight days, but it was a blast.
It was an absolute blast. So be on the lookout for those episodes. I don't know if it'll be 2, 3. I don't know. Yeah, I know we got some amazing interviews for sure.
We had 3 solid days. So it'll definitely be 3.
Yep. And we made it there and we made it back safely.
Yes,
most importantly.
Exactly.
Not too many hiccups, really.
No.
You gotta expect some small things to happen.
Carrying a lot of gear through many different flights. And all in all, I can't wait to go back next year.
Yep. Agreed. 100%. All right, let's move on. Tell us about that opening number there, Sean.
Oh, man. One of the bands that I grew up with, it was, I don't know how old I was, but there was a period of time where this band Poison was at the top of my list on the old cassette tape. A song called Nothing But a Good Time. I don't know if we've ever had Poison on.
You know what?
Have we?
We have not.
All right.
I did a search through all the episodes because I'm like, surely we had to play a Poison song before.
No?
And nope, first time.
American rock band. Gained prominence in the 1980s and early 90s. One of the lead acts in the glam metal and hard rock genre. They're formed in 1983 in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Classic lineup: Bret Michaels, CeCe DeVille, Bobby Dahl, and Ricky Rocket on drums.
Best name, Ricky Rocket.
I mean, all those guys. Anyway, known for their glitzy and androgynous image, Poison was part of the glam metal scene that included bands like Motley Crue, Def Leppard, and Bon Jovi. In addition to music, Bret Michaels became a reality TV star. Appearances on shows like Rock of Love and The Celebrity Apprentice.
And I was a huge fan of both those shows.
I wasn't really into reality shows, still really not. So it wasn't really my thing, but legendary.
Oh, legendary. Absolutely. Yeah. And I have not seen Poison, but I have seen Bret Michaels solo.
Oh, okay.
And amazing. It was amazing. And he lives here. I think he still lives here.
Yeah.
I think he's got a place like up in Silverleaf or something like that. Yeah. So it was really cool when we saw him here locally.
Local guy, yeah.
Brought a bunch of his, local musicians up on stage and everything. And it was super cool. So good band. Love them. We are in the Get Kids Into Survey studio.
We are.
Tonight, and we mentioned that we got to see Elaine Ball and spend some time with her at Intergeo, and all I can say is that woman has more energy than just about anybody I know.
I don't get it.
She was everywhere.
she was somehow everywhere and still like always around us at the same time.
Like, there had to be 3 of her running around.
Yeah. I don't get it.
But kudos to her. She's got great things going, and it makes sense why her and TK get along so well.
Oh, absolutely.
Both
yes.
like endless amounts of energy.
Endless energy. They also somehow get 40 hours a day, and when all of us have 24.
Yep. I don't know how they do it, but good for them. And we're happy that they are friends of the program.
Absolutely.
Moving on. Next up, we have just mentioned hanging out with our buddies from Airworks when we were in Berlin. Great time. And it's time for the Airworks random trivia.
Well, it's always the Airworks random trivia, but it's a little bit on point as I chose the topic of Oktoberfest trivia. So real quick, just a couple nuggets. We knew this going in, but I definitely saw it going to Munich. Oktoberfest actually takes place at the end of September. I think the last days are the first couple days of October. And only beer from Munich is sold at Oktoberfest. Me and Lexi had a chance to go to Munich for a couple days on this trip, and it was awesome. I mean, outstanding place. One of our favorite days. And the locals know the event as Weissen. Wiesen is what they call it. Okay. You can't start drinking until the mayor opens the first keg. I think you've seen some reels of that where they take the wooden mallet and they bang the thing into the the mayor's got to do the first one of those. Oktoberfest beer is brewed extra strong at about 6% alcohol. There are 17 beer tents to choose from. Oktoberfest wasn't originally a beer festival. It was originally a wedding party to celebrate in honor of the Bavarian Crown Prince Ludwig's marriage in 1810. And then it just turned into a massive beer event every year. 6 million people go, and they consume about 1.8 million gallons of beer.
Say that again.
6 million people attend and consume 1.8 million gallons of beer. So if you want to call that 2,
I'm going to have to do some math on that.
Yeah, that's so it's about a third of a gallon a person, which sounds a little light.
I could do that. Yes. I think we did that one night in Berlin.
Yeah, I think one night we were good for 1 gallon.
At least. Very cool.
Yeah.
Is that all you got?
That is one last thing. Over 4,000 lost and found items are found each year.
I don't even want to know what's in that lost and found. I can only imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez. All right, cool. Let's move on to the Advanced Geodetic Surveys Weekly Words of Wisdom. I love this one. By 3 methods, we may learn wisdom.
Ooh.
First, by reflection, which is the noblest. Second, by imitation, which is easiest. And third, by experience, which is the bitterest.
The bitterest.
Yes. So reflection and imitation are good. Experience can be bittersweet.
That's good. That's good.
Absolutely. I get that one.
Hey there, Kent. Can we talk about Trimble for a second?
We sure can.
All right. Trimble Geospatial provides solutions that facilitate high-quality, productive workflows and information exchange for a global and diverse customer base of surveyors, engineering and GIS service companies, governments, utilities, and transportation authorities.
That was a mouthful, my friend. Trimble's innovative technologies include integrated sensors, field applications, real-time communications, and office software for processing, modeling, and data analytics.
Yeah, using Trimble solutions, organizations can capture the most accurate spatial data and transform it into intelligence to deliver increased productivity and improved decision-making.
Trimble Geospatial pioneering the future of data intelligence, converging people, product, and place seamlessly to help you make your mark and leave your legacy. They also put on a really great party.
Yes, they do.
Trimble Dimensions. We'll be there next year.
Absolutely.
To find out more, go to geospatial.trimble.com. Okay, let's get our guests in here. They are, of course, sponsored by XYHT Magazine this week. We have Ken Fronheiser and Richard Johnston from Keystone Precision, and I'm going to let them do some real brief self-introductions and let Rick go first. Just kind of tell us who you are, who you're with, which I just kind of spoiled that, and what you do for Keystone. So, Rick, go ahead. It's all you.
Thanks, guys. My name is Rick Johnston. I'm a member of the technical training and support staff here at Keystone. We're the Northeast United States Trimble dealer. all dealing with all facets of geospatial technology, and supporting our customers, training our customers on how to use this technology.
Nice.
Very good. Ken, you're up next.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, name's Ken Fronheiser. I am the Director of Strategic Integration and Technology at Keystone. I started there almost 10 years ago. I started as a sales consultant in Central PA, then moved into helping build out our support team. Rick is a longtime surveyor, has over 30 years of experience in surveying and with UAS. So I promised him that he did not have to work in the rain anymore if he came work for us. So that's how I got Rick on our team, but only once. So I'm a licensed land surveyor in Pennsylvania, practiced for about 17 years, came to Keystone, and now again working with the support team, building that out. We're about 7 people strong now. And then, on top of that, working with some of our larger customers to help integrate, latest technology, whether it's UAS, scanning, whatever they're interested in looking to do.
Ken, is Pennsylvania a meets and bounds state, or is it a PLSS state?
It's
meets and bounds. Yeah, that's what I thought. Interesting surveying in Pennsylvania, I'm sure. Okay, before we get into this,
if you like research, it's a good place to be.
Absolutely. All right, so time for the Trimble Pro Point Icebreaker. Sean liked this one last time we threw it out there.
Okay.
If you could switch lives with any one person for a day.
This is real or fictional, is that right?
Real or fictional. Yeah. Who would it be and why? Who wants to go first? Any obvious answers come to mind?
That's a good one. That's a real good
Rick's
one.
got a smile on his face. I think he's got one brewing there.
No, that's just me trying to think of something, because it's an excellent question, and certainly something
there's no wrong answers.
I've never really thought about it.
Who you got? Come on.
Let's see.
Elvis Presley.
I would. No. I don't know that I have a specific person, but I would want to be in the life of somebody that's like some huge executive, Bezos, somebody along those lines, just to see what that day looks like. They need to do so much in it. They need to do so much in a day, right? So they obviously have families, right? So they got to fit in family time. They have their corporate duties. They obviously have a crazy social calendar with going to this event, that event. So I don't know that I could pick somebody straight out, but it would be that type of person, right? Like how do they structure their day, and what does that look like? So that's what I would be very curious to kind of follow those guys around for a day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, I never heard that. That's a good one.
On that note, Sean, you're going to love this. I started a Kanban today.
Oh, I love Kanban.
Yeah, I started one today because getting back from a 10-day vacation and then having to jet out for a couple of days yesterday, it's like my mind was scrambled. And I'm like, I have to get a grip on all this stuff in my head. Yeah. So I'm like, Kanban.
And you can only put so much in your doing column.
And just spending an hour downloading into my Kanban today.
I bet you
freed
that just
my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I felt so much
better.
You
get it out of here and on here, and then you organize it. And
all right, we delayed long enough. Rick, you're up.
Rick, you're up, buddy.
Well, I think over the last year or so, I have spent a lot more time in a car than I have for a long time. And so as a result, I have systematically worked my way through a whole series of books about the World War II in the Pacific.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
And so probably it would be Chester Nimitz, Admiral Nimitz,
because interesting. Yeah. I like that.
And it has nothing to do with the actual fighting of the war, but the amount of things and stuff that he had to manage on a daily basis, and the fact that one person could do it, I find fascinating, and I would like to see how he did it.
Yeah. Again, Kanban to the rescue right there.
Oh, I know.
You probably had one.
Oh, had to.
If anybody listening doesn't know what it is, Google Kanban.
Yeah, it's Kanban.
Yeah. And there's free applications and stuff like that one of them which I used, and again, already mind freeing Absolutely. Okay, let's get on with this. We are going to talk all things Keystone Precision. That's why you guys are here. Tell us about the business. When did the business start? Kind of what's the mission, and just kind of talk about what you guys do. Ken, I'll let you go.
I'll go first. Yeah, I'll go first. So, Keystone was founded in 1989 by a gentleman by the name of Keith Border. He was an engineer, started, I believe, I wasn't part of the company since 89, but, so started as like a small TopCon, dealer of, robots, or not even robots, just conventional total stations, things of that nature. Fast forward a little bit. He hired a gentleman by the name of George Alport Sr., who was a retired military, had a lot of GPS background and whatnot, and then in turn hired his son. And he's going to tell this story way better than I, but essentially his George Alport Jr. Recently graduated, whatnot, and he wanted to move to California. But his dad, quickly reminded him he had no money. So he decided to come on as an intern at Keystone. At that time, it was Keystone Precision Instruments. And he never left. He's now the president and CEO. So George Alport Jr. is now so he worked his way up. So again, if you want to hear the real story, you want to talk to him. But but that's kind of the long and short of it. But yeah, so he is now the president CEO of Keystone Precision Solutions.
Yeah, and tell me again how long you guys individually have been with Keystone.
I've been there almost 10 years.
10 years. Okay. How about you, Rick?
I've been here for about a year and a half.
Okay, cool. So, Ken, in 10 years, how have you seen the company evolve?
Oh, it's so when I came, I was a sales rep in Central PA. We kind of did everything, right? So as a sales rep, I was responsible for finding business, quoting it, demoing it, and technical support and everything in between. So through that time, we've evolved into now having we had a service team, but the service team is way more robust than what it was, and we just grew. So we have support and service in every office. Like I mentioned, we have a support team that's now 7 strong and each member of the support team they all have core business knowledge, right? So GPS robots, but Rick, as an example, has UAS experience, scanning experience. Brent Fico has scanning, core business, mobile mapping experience. Jamie Deanne has a lot of UAS experience. He's a recent ad of ours up in New England. Mike King is down in our Crofton office. He has a lot of core business, a lot of MGIS experience. And then we have in our office, we have what we like to call our triage nurse, Crystal. So if we have a customer that's down in the field, we kind of try to get her, try to get our customers up and running as fast as we can. So she'll kind of manage that, that effort. And then we also have George Scott, who was a technician on the bench for many years that we've kind of migrated him over to support. So if it's software, process we can't figure out, we'll say, hey, George, could this be a hardware issue? And then he can kind of diagnose it from that end. So that's the team that I lead from that point. So we've really growing out. Our mission really is to 2 things. One, make sure our customers are not down right? So time is money. Yep. And then on top of that, if you want to measure something, we want to have a solution for you, whether it's GPS robots, steel tape, mobile mapping system monitoring, we will have something that will be able to help our customers.
Sure. And, looking at your website, which is very user-friendly, by the way, you guys are sales, of course, service, tech support. There's even a VRS component. Is that correct?
Yeah, there is. So a sister company of ours is Keynet GPS. So we have one of the largest privately owned VRS networks in the country. So that kind of runs roughly from Virginia to Maine. So that's our VRS network as well.
Okay. All right. And what would you like to add to that, Rick?
Just that, I think before I came to Keystone, I was a customer. Ken was actually my salesman for years. Nice. But I've been a customer of Keystone since the early 90s for a very long time. And I think, my perspective on how Keystone has changed over the years is obviously different than somebody's that was inside of the company. But Ken is right that, when he was the salesman, if I had a problem, if I had a question, I would, he was the only person I had to call. And I think now we have this dedicated support team. And I think a lot of our customers really appreciate the effort that we put into making sure that they have somebody there to, kind of fix their problem, even if the solution isn't what they want to hear. It's got to, your total station's got to come in and there's something physically broken with it, but at least they get an answer sooner rather than later, and then they can come up with a game plan as to how to handle that, that situation.
Yeah. So talk about the different, I guess, industries that you guys support. It's not just surveyors, I'm sure. Talk about, just your general customer base.
I would say surveyors are probably our largest, right? But engineering firms, building construction firms, we're seeing a lot more public safety with UAS, things of that nature. So those are, a couple other industries that, that we touch. And then, we'll have some other customers that are, we're doing a lot more with monitoring. So we'll get a lot more in the buildings in that way. Have a very unique one right now where they're putting some monitoring solutions on some docks. So we're getting into some of those, a little bit, non-typical, if you will. We're seeing more architects looking at scanning for a solution for measuring buildings versus, tapes, so we're touching some of those markets as well.
Cool. You just gave me the look like, yeah, we were just talking about that. We were talking about how to help some of our shared architect clients, and specifically in scanning and, inside. Now everyone wants to update Revit models, and that's definitely, and it was a topic that came up a lot at Energeo. It was probably more about scanning and point cloud than it was survey equipment.
Yep, definitely. Who are you guys partnered with? I mean, I think you mentioned you're a Trimble dealer. What other manufacturers are you teamed up with?
So primarily we're a Trimble, a Trimble house, Spectra Precision. We are also a C4 dealer, and we also represent DJI and Wingtra on the UAS front as well.
Cool. Very cool.
And then we really can be a one-stop shop, right? So we have all paint, ribbon, and nails as well for for all those types of things. So if you look at that, then you're looking at Seco and Airvo and all those Chrisnick and all those companies. But from a technology standpoint,
what are the challenges you guys encounter? I mean, are there still like supply chain issues or that type thing, or is stuff pretty much readily available at this point?
There are some in certain pockets, right? UAS right now, we're seeing some struggles with getting some things. But core business, when I say that, I mean GPS and robots. That's pretty much has died down. 18 months ago, coming out of COVID, that was not the case. Where we weren't able to get things, and that was a challenge. That was a big challenge. But I'd say for those types of things, that's not so much. We are still seeing some of that on the UAS side, though.
Yep. So, Rick, do you have a survey background as well?
Actually, I do not.
Okay.
It's okay, Rick. You're in a safe place. It's okay. It's okay.
I started at an engineering firm 30 years ago. I went to school for, and my background is actually in geology. Started at as a kind of a staff geologist 30 years ago at an engineering firm. The company started an enormous transportation project in the northeast corner of Pennsylvania. There was no geology work to do, but lots of survey work to do. So I was issued a machete and told to report to the survey department.
Nice.
By the end of that project, I was actually a crew chief, and then we got into GPS and UAVs and all that stuff. And I just kind of never went back to geology. And honestly, I've really enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. But I like to provide that disclaimer, particularly when I'm giving presentations to surveyors and things like that. I am not a surveyor.
Well, I mean, you're not like a licensed surveyor, but you do have a survey background, and I think that's really, really important.
Yes.
You know, being in the position you guys are in.
Right.
You know, Ken, you mentioned that you are a surveyor, a licensed surveyor, and I think that is key to understanding what your customers' needs are. You have that background to be able to guide them, you know, from a different place that rather than if you didn't have those experiences. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. You know, both Ken and I we have worked in the survey industry. We have collected a lot of survey geospatial data. I think we understand the challenges both in the field and in the office. And Ken has kind of coined this, you know, hashtag saying is, you know, what's your deliverable? Because it doesn't matter how
that.
you collect the data or what you do,
Yep.
but unless you can convince somebody to pay you for something, it makes no difference.
Yep. I love that. What's the deliverable? It's a great first question.
Well, yeah, especially when you get into we were in this want versus need setting, and I do want all these things, but if my deliverable is still something that doesn't warrant the equipment, then it doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Well, and I think the question of what's your deliverable more and more is changing because it used to be it was a map, it was a paper map.
Yep.
You know, but the future of surveying is more and more going to be 3D models, you know, digital BIM models, things like that. So I think that's a very relevant question to ask.
Yeah. How do you guys keep up with the latest developments in technology? I mean, obviously going to conferences like the one you're at right now, but talk about that just a little bit.
So we do a fair amount of working with our partners, right? To stay up with the latest technology, but we're always looking outside of that as well, right? So, I think it's attending. I think attending a conference is probably one of the bigger ways we do it. So we've been at, collectively, my group has been at the UAS conference in Vegas earlier this year. Rick and I were both at Geo Week. I'll be going to Trimble Dimensions in, I guess, 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks, whenever that is. So that's a big part of it. And then obviously just research. And I think another big part of it is just talking to our customers.
Oh, yeah.
Just finding out, how can we help you? What can we do? I've kind of, since we built up the support team, I've road mapped out, the next 18, 24 months of things I think we need to look at. That's why we brought UAS on. It was just in talking with our customers. It was something that they want to measure it. And it's a great way to do it. So I think that's a big avenue, is just talking to our customers and understanding, one, how we can help them first and foremost, but then, what are they seeing? What are they hearing? What is going to help them create that deliverable?
Yeah. And from a business development perspective, what for you guys, what's the best way for you to, acquire new customers?
So, word of mouth.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt, right? And we're very proud of that, we really want to help our customers. So we do that. Obviously social media and, things of that. So we've been in this space for a very long time. Our customer list is fairly large, but, we're always, to your point, we're always wanting to help more people, right? So, word of mouth, social media, conferences, state conferences, presenting. Our goal is every state that we represent this, between 23 and 24, we want to present at every conference.
Oh, wow.
So just showing, everybody on my team has surveying experience, different facets, so that, we can kind of lean on each other when we have some issues that we're not sure how to solve. But every single member on my team has many years of surveying experience. So, we want to leverage that and help our customers.
How many states do you guys cover? You said all the Northeast. So from Virginia to Maine and west Illinois or something like that, or how far? What's your region?
No, so we have Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, a little bit of West Virginia, probably about 2/3 of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. So 12, 13 states that we cover.
Okay, now say the capitals backwards.
Oh, yeah.
Rick, you're up.
Yeah, Rick, go for it.
Hold on, I'm going to have to look them up on Google.
Do those? I'm just curious. Do those guys have state-specific conferences? Do any of them kind of combine in regions? Like, what's the makeup in that area?
For the most part, they each have their own state conference. I do know in Connecticut they have something. I can't remember the acronym, but they all have acronyms. I can't remember the acronym where a couple states around Connecticut get together. But for the most part, they each have their own. I don't know so much about Rhode Island, but they each kind of have their own. I know for New Hampshire for sure. I've attended that conference. I've attended conferences in New Hampshire, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Obviously Pennsylvania. Yeah. So
Yep.
Most of those have their own conferences.
Sure. Ken, did you say you were at Geo Week last year?
I was. Well, in 23. Rick and I were both.
You guys were both there? Okay.
Yeah,
Because
that was this year.
Yeah.
Well, this year, sure. Yeah. So when Ken came up on the video, I'm like, God, I know I've seen him before. And it was probably a Geo Week last year.
Yeah, you remember that week?
That's the worst because, and again, this year, it starts the Monday after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like, man, oh man, it's a rough one. It's like, do you go in early and watch the Super Bowl in Denver?
No.
Or do you get up really early on Monday after watching the Super Bowl at home?
You just sleep it off on the plane and hope you can wake up refreshed when you land.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we see you guys there this year.
Oh, yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah. Let's talk about some differentiators. Cool. What kind of separates, Keystone from other like companies? What makes Keystone great?
So I'll let Rick answer this because he was just a customer 18 months ago.
Oh,
so
nice.
Rick, what was different from us when we were?
I mean, I really think it is the focus, and Ken can speak to the when Keystone started this, but the focus on having a dedicated support team. Because 10 years ago, I got I would get a new GPS receiver. Ken would drop it off, show me how to use it. And then if I had questions, he was the only resource. And so if I was out in the field and Ken happened to be, took vacation and didn't tell me or something like that, there was no other resource available. But that's, over the last 2 years or so, that's really changed. And I think that separates us from a lot of other dealers, and I think I'd like to think that we are continuing to get better at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely key. I mean, me being a surveyor, and working with companies, like yourselves here locally, the ones that provide the best support are the ones that I always turn to for sure. So,
and there's the ones that retain the most customers anyway, which end up being the most successful, which is the ones that stick around.
Yep, exactly. Well, talk about that. Talk about, the technical support or maybe the training that you guys offer that, does play a role in separating you from other companies.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Rick, you go.
No, go ahead, Ken.
I was just going to say that, because of the wide range of geospatial technology that we carry, we can train and support on everything we sell. So if it's a UAS unit, if it's a DJI drone, we have Rick and Jamie. If it's a mobile mapping unit, we have we have Rick and Brent. If it's seafloor, we have Brent and Mike. So we have we're cross trained and so that when somebody does take vacation, you're not dead in the water. But we offer anything from regular GPS training to mobile mapping, mobile mapping training, UAS training, and what we like to do is a lot of times delivery training can be very similar customer to customer, but a lot of times we try to go through a process of a discovery call where we'll sit down and say, what do you want to know? If you're doing layout all the time and you have no desire ever to collect points, well then maybe we won't spend as much time on that. So we try to kind of teach, kind of create a customized agenda for every customer, because customer does it a little bit different. So we'll typically hop on the call, talk to the customer about, what are you looking to use this equipment for? Not that we don't know that during the sales process, but, just hearing it from the end user, right? Because they're not always the ones that make the purchase. But so we'll typically do that, create a written agenda that we will, get to the customer, like, this is what we heard. Is this what you were saying? And then from there, obviously pick a date that works for everybody, and then we'll, go out to the field and train them. I'm big on trying not to train on an active job site, depending on your skill set. If you're new to it, I like to try to do it somewhere where, there's not the pressure of so many, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Let's just spend 6 to 8 hours and let's just let's just work on this craft. And, after that, obviously, or we have a technical support line that if customers have questions or if we need to make a return visit to answer some questions, we're more than happy to do that as well. Rick, what were you going to say?
No, just, kind of the same thing is that, we provide training on everything that we sell, and, they're given the kind of the knowledge base amongst the support team. There really aren't many questions that we can't answer, honestly. I think we have a very well-rounded support team.
And I got to ask you, that training that you refer to, is that included in like the purchase price of the equipment typically, or is that like an added feature that folks can, I guess, I don't know, spend more money on? How does it work with you guys?
So, yes and yes. So we typically don't do bundle pricing. Like if you wanted to buy a robot, like here's your robot price. We try to lay it. We try to be very consultative with it. So we'll go sit down with the customer and say, okay, so I want to buy, make up a scenario. I want to buy a new robot. Okay, great. So you're upgrading from this robot. Yeah, I have a new set of Trimax legs. Okay, so you don't need this. So we'll pull that out,
Yep.
right? So we have a typical thing that we would typically quote, right? So if it's a customer that either some of our larger customers have their own internal training, standard operating procedures, and they have their own staff that will train their new people, as an example, the way they want them to do it, then we won't add it. But it's something that we will add to every customer that's interested in it. Mm-hmm. So I want to say that we talk about it at every sale, but some customers that they already know how to run an R12i. They're just adding another one to the fleet.
Sure.
We're not going to require them for that. But so we try to be very consultative with our approach.
Yeah, good stuff. What do you got to add to that, Rick?
Not much, except that I think what is included in the sale is the support, mm-hmm. and I keep kind of coming back to that, but I think it's really important.
Definitely,
because it doesn't matter how good the equipment is. If if you can't figure out how to run it, or there's something wrong with
mm-hmm.
it is extremely frustrating. And so, like one of the things that I really enjoy about this job is when some guy is out, in the middle of nowhere trying to get his job done. Something's not working. He calls me, and we're able to fix it, in a couple of minutes. Excuse me. And it's it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And they appreciate it, and I think they appreciate that value added to their purchase.
Sure. What's the pre-owned equipment market like these days?
That's a good one. So we typically do not we don't buy and sell used equipment per se. With that said, we do try to rotate our rental fleet, our demo fleet on a regular basis. So that's primarily where most of our used equipment does come from. So we'll try to cycle that out. And this, I don't get too much involved in this. I'm going to say around 18, 24 months. We'll try to cycle that out. The benefit of purchasing used or pre-used, I should say, not really pre-owned, but equipment from us is that we always know what happened to it. So when it comes back from a rental, gets checked out before the sale, we'll run it through a clean and calibration process, update the firmware, whatever it is, to ensure that it's all but new when it goes out to the customer. Mm-hmm. So in fact, we're, towards the end of the year is typically when we'll start flipping our fleet over for next year. So we'll go through, check, see if it's depreciated to a certain extent, and then we'll open that up to the market.
Got it. So, Sean, do you ever wish that you could have a weekly cup of coffee with a like-minded survey professional?
Actually, I have wished that.
I'm sure you have. I am here to tell you that you can do just that by participating in the virtual Mentoring Mondays program.
What is that like?
Think of Mentoring Mondays as the weekly office hours of the surveying profession. And the cool thing is you can find out more by simply going to mentoringmondays.xyz. And while we're on the topic of becoming the best surveyor ever, you also need to check out Wisdom Wednesdays.
Oh, really? Have you ever thought about how awesome it would be to have a book club specifically for land surveyors?
I have thought that would be a really good idea.
I thought you have. And our good friend Trent Keenan has once again beat you to the punch with his Wisdom Wednesdays group. Wisdom Wednesdays is a great opportunity to read survey-specific books and have a weekly interactive conversation about each informative chapter with like-minded professionals. If you're interested and want to find out more, go to wisdomwednesdays.xyz. You had mentioned that you guys like to do a talk or lead a discussion at every conference that you go to. Can you give us an insight on kind of some of the topics that you go to, or maybe what's the topic at the one you're at now?
So the one we're doing this week is on seafloor systems and integrating that. So we're kind of doing a little test project at the hotel pool.
Okay.
So we're going to put the seafloor system in the pool, and then we're going to scan the outside of it and then bring the data together in Trimble Business Center. And then we're also going to do a short talk on some GPS. But it really ranges. We kind of try to work with each society to say, is there something that you would like to talk about? Because we do carry a pretty broad range. But I would say advanced technologies is kind of always kind of rises to the top.
Right. Yeah. And that was kind of like my next question is, what's the new, what do you end up talking about the most in the up, what's the new exciting thing that everyone wants to hear about, or that's the buzz around town these days?
Laser scanning is a big one. UAS right now is as the cool kids would say, hot.
Right.
It's really taking off. Get it? So that's a good one. And then we're also doing some.
Sorry.
Right?
It was so awesome a joke. It took me a second to really, really let it sink in.
And then we're talking more and more about monitoring.
Okay. What are some of the use cases in monitoring that maybe we don't think about, or what you've come across?
I think an obvious one is building subsidence,
sure.
Something along those natures. But I think one of the things that I didn't really think about until I really kind of understood the industry better was geospatial monitoring, whether it's settlement of docks on the water.
Oh, sure.
Vibration sensors, tilt sensors, things of that nature. It's not something I wasn't exposed to that hardly at all when I was practicing. So that was learning more about that was really interesting. So that, obviously you can put GPS and monitor deltas and subsidence, but I think the geotechnical part of that was pretty good.
See, did you hear that? The geotechnical part of that was the most exciting thing he's ever seen.
Okay. Come on.
Well, I'm sure that, given the states that you guys cover, you got a lot of coastline there and a lot of old buildings along that coastline. So I can definitely see how the monitoring component is coming into play a lot as the infrastructure ages and the buildings get, I think when we were in, we were at some museum and looking at, they had like an example of like an old wooden pile that's 30-foot pile, and obviously it didn't last. Because we were in Amsterdam and we were looking at Amsterdam's like built on a swamp, and you're looking at it was all just built on these wood piles that eventually just rotted, and all the buildings are starting to get kind of out of skew, and it was really interesting to see, and I can see all of that same kind of application even all along the coastline of the Northeast.
Yeah, for sure. I saw something on the website as well. You guys work a lot with what am I looking for? Like police officers and stuff like that. With I guess maybe selling and servicing scanners to them to do like accident reconstruction and stuff along those lines. Talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
So they're using law enforcement's using this technology more and more every day. Some cases it's unfortunate, right? Because it's usually deployed if there's an accident or something like that. But even like SLAM technology, where they're starting to use that to map hospitals, schools, things of that nature, that if they need to have some type of emergency response plan, they can have a floor plan to kind of know where every nook and cranny of the school is as an example, right? Which is somewhat unfortunate, but it's kind of where we're at. But yeah, so those types of things, thermal on UAS to look for people that may have escaped from some kind of correctional facility or something like that. That UAS is being used more and more for things like that as well.
Like gonna start scanning crime scene instead of doing the whole little yellow triangle thing with a number on it and taking the picture, just dropping running a scan on it and then just having
Why not?
everything digital
Right?
model.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, without those little yellow triangle things, it just doesn't have the same. It's not the same.
It's funny. So what do you guys see? Like when you look at the future of surveying, you both have surveying backgrounds, and being in the business you're in, what does the future of surveying look like for you guys?
Go ahead, Rick. You can go first.
Well, I think the future of surveying, and I think the biggest changes over the next 5 years or so, is less related to the hardware in the field, and I think it's more related to, in the future, there's going to be no more paper maps. Everything's going to be a three-dimensional design. Several of the Department of Transportation's in the area that we operate are already talking about going to completely digital, plan sets, for lack of a better term. But everything's going to be, a digital design. There's, and there's a fair number of white papers, if you will, kind of documenting how the use of these digital designs dramatically reduces not so much like construction costs, but change orders and overruns and things like that, because they are much better at conflict detection and things like that, as opposed to 15 different, slightly different thicknesses of blue lines on a piece of paper. It's all, once you look at it in a three-dimensional kind of augmented reality scenario, the conflicts become very obvious. And I think that is, that is the future of surveying, at least, like I said, over the next, 5 to 10 years. I don't think a lot of the changes are going to be on the hardware, like laser scanning it's really good, and I'm sure they'll continue to make up, scanners that are scan faster and scan a little bit further, but I don't see any great, leap. Not, I don't think there's another like GPS like revolution on the horizon for survey.
Sure. And
now you watch somebody will announce something tomorrow.
Sure.
And that's one of the top 3 topics we talked about while we were in Intergeo. It's just managing all this data that we're able to collect,
Yeah, the consensus was definitely there that the hardware will get smaller and faster, but not at the same pace that the software needs to accelerate to keep up with all the billions of points that can be
Right.
all the data we can collect. It's everything after that, and there's a lot of stuff out there, but it still has I think it has a long way to catch up.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, Ken? Future of surveying.
Yeah,
what do you...
I think the same way.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's software. I also think it's, I think part of the challenge is going to be, people. I'm at a conference right now. Everybody says if I could hire another crew, or if I could hire another crew, right? So I think in the next, 10 years, that's going to be part of it. We're going to look at technology to get jobs done, faster, so that they can keep up with demand. Everybody's still very busy. So I think that's going to be a component of it. Is going to be either, people are going to take on more training responsibilities for themselves to hire people and to train them to what they need to do. And I think they're going to look at technology and say, before I would go tote this road, now I'm going to use a mobile mapping system to go collect this road at 55 miles an hour to collect the data I need, and then, try to, create the deliverable from there. But I agree with what Rick's saying. It's the software and 3 dimensions, and how we build things and how we as built things is all going to be, I don't want to say real time, but it's all going to be integrated into one model of some sort.
Well, I mean, you just said, Ken, that I can hire just anybody with no experience, and you guys will train them exactly how to use all the equipment, and they'll come out just an expert, right?
Well, we can certainly help with that. We definitely have the team to do that.
So, what's the future of the company and you guys? Like, keep plowing through and being on the cutting edge here, or what's the next 5 years look like for Keystone?
Yeah, I think that's, I think obviously continuing to grow, in our footprint, and, continuing to look at advanced technologies, UAS, being probably one of the more predominant ones, SLAM technology, and how that's continuing to get, more accurate all the time, right? So I think that's a big one as well. I think anything that can help our customers collect data, accurate data to their deliverable needs, I think is something that, we're continuing to look to do, and that whether it's hardware or software, that's kind of where I see us moving forward here in the next 5 years or so.
What about you, Rick? What are you excited about? I know you're a little new, but what are you excited about based on what Ken said?
I'm excited about, kind of the changes in technology, particularly related to the software. And I think, for me, it's going to be fascinating to see in 5 years how much better a lot of these software packages that do, even now, a really good job of extracting usable data out of these billions and billions of points and these point clouds and things like that. And, every year and every release, they seem to get better and better. We're not quite to the point where you could just press a button and, a map comes out out of a plotter. But I think it's getting there, and that's pretty cool stuff.
I got to mention this. So somebody posted on LinkedIn the other day, the ChatGPT has 3.5 and now they've got 4.0, which is their next version.
Sure.
It's more smarter.
Oh, it's more smarter?
It's more smarter.
Oh, okay.
You have to pay for it, I believe. There's some sort of monthly fee or whatever.
Well, that's the smarter part about it.
But it was Aaron Mikolenko, who's been on the show many times.
Yeah.
That guy is always out there, pushing the envelope on things. And in the latest version of ChatGPT, I hope I get this right, you can actually upload a PDF, right? So he uploaded a PDF of a plat and asked ChatGPT to write a legal description for parcel 5 on the map. And sure as shit,
they did?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
A good one?
It was 70% of the way there, just like everything in ChatGPT.
Well, think about it. If you handed that to any number of junior people in your office, and they came back with 70% there, you give that guy a raise,
right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's going to get really, really interesting. That's for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, before we let you guys get out of there, let's talk about, where our listeners can find out more. Is it best on the website? I'm sure you have a brick and mortar store out there. Fill us in on the best way to reach you guys and become a new customer.
Absolutely. So, absolutely. So we are headquartered in Allentown, Pennsylvania. We have offices in Milford, Massachusetts, Hackensack, New Jersey, and Crofton, Maryland. So right outside of Boston, right outside of New York City, and right outside out of the Baltimore, D.C. area. Obviously have a website, www.keypre.com. I also have a support line that you can call. You can, if you're on a website, let me back up a second. If you're on a website, you can actually chat right into our support line to get a hold of our team to, if you need any help, but you can obviously call our support line. You can call into any one of our offices to get help as well. So we cover the Northeast of those 4 brick and mortar offices.
So I got to ask, we're actually right today, Phillies are in Phoenix for the Game 3. I'm just curious how you guys are feeling about the series. Of course, you're up 2-0. I'm sure you're pretty confident.
Well, it is Red October, so we are. I am a huge Phillies fan. Rick is not so much, a huge Phillies fan. We're up 2-0. Actually, before we hopped right on here, it was still 0-0 in Game 3. So
what's the score right now, Kent?
Lately, so hopefully.
Spoiler alert! Our hometown Diamondbacks won 2-1.
What?
Yep.
Okay.
We're back in the series.
That's already over?
Yes, it was a 2:00 game.
Oh, it was a 2:00 game.
Yeah.
We're in this. All right, guys.
Yep.
You're on now.
All right. Well, there you go.
Well, we need offline. We'll have a friendly wager.
I was disappointed that the roof was closed. I really wanted them to open it up because it was still 100 degrees here, and I wanted to take that home field advantage and having those those Philly guys sweated out a little bit, but good job, Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I'm
Keep
excited.
making it a series.
I know. I'm a bandwagon fan right now.
Always.
There you go.
What else, guys? You got anything else you want to get out there?
Yeah, what do you got?
I don't know. This has been a great experience. I admit this is a first time podcast for me, so
nice.
this has been a lot of fun. I wasn't sure what to expect, but no, this is good stuff. But no, I think just at the end of the day, we understand at Keystone that if you take a GPS unit out from multiple different manufacturers and you pound a PK nail in the middle of an open parking lot, and you're probably going to get a very similar answer, right? So what is the differentiator? And we want our differentiator to be, we want to help you. So anything that we can do to help you, if you have a measurement challenge, or something, we want to be the name that somebody thinks of and saying, let me talk to these guys. I'm pretty sure they have a solution for me, right? Mm-hmm. So, and again, we're not, I was in the field for many years. Rick has been in the field for many years. There's nothing worse than having a bulldozer look at you and your equipment not working and nobody to turn to, right? So we're, we take that very seriously. So that's, something that we really want our customer base to know, that we're here to help them at any turn, and however we can help them. That's really what we really strive to do every day.
Very well said.
Absolutely. It seems like you said that before, buddy.
About 1,000 times at least. How about you, Rick? Any final thoughts?
Just first of all, thanks for having us. Again, this is also my first time on a podcast. It was a lot of fun. Really appreciate it. And I think, just to kind of echo to what Ken had said, and I don't think he had mentioned this earlier, or he kind of alluded to it. Several years ago, Keystone changed it. It used to be Keystone Precision Instruments. They changed it to Keystone Precision Solutions. And I think that is very emblematic as to the philosophy, because we do want to be, our customer's measurement solution, not just somebody selling you equipment and hoping you have a good day. I think and certainly I got this, this kind of experience when I was a customer, that, they are more of a consultant, kind of more in a consulting role, and helping helping our customers solve their management or their measurement problems, whatever that is, whether that's, they need more equipment, or they have a new, kind of a new project, not quite sure how to do it, and looking for some ideas as to the best way to do it. And that, that's not always, new equipment, or, more, kind of some really expensive solution. A lot of times it's really not, not overly complicated. So people sometimes, tend to make things more complicated than they have to be.
Yep. Agreed, 100%. Sean, anything else before we get out of here?
No, that was all good stuff.
All good stuff,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Gosh, I'm out of practice here. I forgot how to close out a show.
I know.
I guess I got to get the music queued up here, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, go Diamondbacks.
Go D-backs.
Exciting. All right, guys. Great job. Really appreciate you guys taking the time to join us. Adding value, making friends. Our new Keystone. I love them.
Once again,
these guys.
Yeah.
If anyone would like to be a guest on a future show, or have any topical ideas, shoot us an email at info@thegeoholics.com. Poison, nothing but a good time. Available everywhere. Until next time, everyone, check out KEYPRE.com and ask yourself, what's the deliverable? I love that. Yep. Most importantly, of course, be safe and healthy.
God, I love it.